Good evening and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Ace Knight, and of course I'm sitting down with Techie Joe. How are you, darling?
I'm doing well. How are you this evening?
Oh, a little evil, a little confused, a little adjusting to Mercury being direct, all that fun shit in a box.
Trying to get there. Trying to get there.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of a thing.
It is.
Ah, sorry, I gotta go back. The article jumped on me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you Times of India. Come on, man.
Right.
Sorry, it's just one of the harder news sites to work with. It
Right.
likes to really keep you reading.
Yeah.
So it likes to jump articles. All right, so yeah, Mercury became direct in Cancer. This astrological shift brought positive changes in communication, intellect, and relationships across various zodiac signs. Each sign experienced unique benefits such as personal growth, new perspectives, and enhanced connections. This
Right.
period marked the end of retrograde induced delays, offering new beginnings and opportunities. So, yay!
Yay, we are direct, we are focused direct, we are moving direct. You can sign your contracts now, go buy your cars now, tell Uber to get lost, all the fun stuff you've had to deal with. Mm-hmm.
So, but no, that's been kind of powerful for about everyone.
It has been. It has been. It's been. This one was a hard ass one. Like, oh, good gravy.
Yeah, it seemed like it was hitting a lot of people at their weakest, most vulnerable.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, kind of horrible, weird phraseology, but it's like the retrograde that grabs you by the balls, and it's just like,
Ah.
yeah, and doesn't let go for a few weeks.
I know, right?
Yeah. So, yay, finally let go. So, yeah. I'm just saying, in terms of like, there's kind of this general like Mercury retrograde. Okay, crap goes wrong, and then but this is like one of the like few signs or like combinations that's like, oh, that's bad. That's really bad. That's not where you want that to go retrograde at. Like,
Well, not only that, but it's like, oh god, it's like, drag me into the 3rd century, please. Like,
I'm glad Brenda likes my lights.
Yes. Some of the entitlement that came out in this Mercury retrograde, I had a hard moment of holding my damn tongue and going, no, honey, that's not how that works. Like last night, I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? You do not look like I held my tongue very nicely. My tongue ring did get increased the last time I saw my piercer, which was a good thing. But like the amount of entitlement that came out with some of these dark Mercury and retrograde people, it's like,
oh yeah. No, I can understand. Like, it's a challenge. Like all Mercury and retrogrades are a challenge. Communication's imperfect.
Right.
And I think there's some of that like, especially in your field, you have to kind of breathe through and be like, that's not really what they mean to say. That's the Mercury in retrograde talking. That makes that sound a lot worse than they mean it to.
Right.
Which, I mean, and I oddly had my moment of that today. I went back and reread a message I sent to a client because I was like, wow, that was an unusually aggressive response.
Right.
And I went back and read the message I had sent before it. And I was like, ooh, yeah, I could have phrased that so much better. And it's like, oopsies, let me talk this through. Like, Joe Talks take 2.
Right.
Technically what I said wasn't wrong. It's just like, not the best way to communicate that.
Right.
Like, it sounded more challenging than it was.
Right.
And it's like, no, I'm not challenging credentials.
Right.
Like, not what I meant. I'm like, just before we use certain words, I need to make sure we have ducks in a row, and
Right.
the ducks will verify the thing you say they'll verify. And it's
Right.
like, but that is not what I said.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, oh, oh.
Mm.
Which was kind of funny because this communication had ended up in their spam folder at one point, and I was like, Hmm.
It's spam. It needed to go there.
Well, no, like an earlier part of the conversation.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's been one of those. It's been
Yeah.
one of those.
It has been. It's been one of those times. It's been one of those adventures. It's been a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. 2024 just seems like a lot. Like the 2020s have been a lot.
Well, the 2020s is supposed to be a lot. If we look back at the 1920s and the 1820s, all of them were fucking a lot too.
Yeah. I mean, granted, we've somehow avoided World War. So
The economy isn't low enough yet.
like, can we just not have a World War?
We can try not to. I think that if we do, we should put our leaders in cages and let them fight. Do it MMA style and save our soldiers.
Oh goodness, that could be interesting.
Yes, we will sell tickets for live, and then we'll also do a pay-per-view stream, and we will make enough money to pay off the world debt.
There is that. That
Especially if we get the Las Vegas bookies on it.
True that. All right. But yay, direction.
Yeah.
He's done direct.
Yep. Now I can start signing contracts.
Yes. Oh, hopefully they'll come through more clearly articulate.
They have. I just waited till it went direct.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right.
Right.
What you feel like next?
Yeah, I think we are. Since we're already in the world of astrology, let's go down to the bottom one, last one I posted in.
Okay, I'm going to need you to read that because it wants me to subscribe.
Fortune. Stock Up says Gen Zs are using astrology and tarot to invest and are swearing by the results to the tune of $400,000.
Oh.
So it's now doing the same thing to me. That's cute. You want to be a problem. But I can talk about this. So anyhow, we have seen, and I get these all the time, that they want stock tips or investment tips, and they want me to use astrology or tarot. I can't do that. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. By your own, a professional reader that you contact cannot legally do this for you.
Right.
Now, that being said, if you want to learn astrology,
which is what this TikToker is doing, but she's also starting to spit it out online, and you can't do that.
Yeah, don't give your investment advice. I mean, you can teach someone what you're doing, but you can't really be like, here, go do this. It's
right.
You don't want to do that.
Right. After scanning the market from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. and picking stocks she'll be trading that day, today as was Amazon, I do a single call report to confirm my decisions or guidance. She says in her TikTok video, today I pulled the Ace of Cups, which reflects abundance. That this gives me the need to assist in assurance in trusting in my strategy. The process seems to work for her. The next On the next slide of her TikTok, Nova posts a screenshot showing her portfolio for the day, showing a almost $300 gain from trading Amazon shares at 21%, returned in 8 minutes by trusting her own higher self heart. She writes in another video she posted a screenshot of her monthly earnings of about $6,000. Nova, in one of many TikTokers, ascribe to their financial success in trusting the universe through the techniques of using the lunar cycles to buy Bitcoin, astrology to make over $400,000 in crypto trading. The practice widely fetches among the Gen Zers, and they're labeling for Gen Zers, but I'm sorry, there are people who have been doing this for centuries.
Well, yeah, but ultimately there's a younger generation, and they're down for it.
Yeah,
like that's the takeaway. But I think it also comes with a problem,
right?
In that, like, the best you're going to get on this is a questionable TikTok. Right. I don't even really want to card read.
Right. Well, and see, everything is in a cycle. Astrology is in a cycle. We're going to talk about that next week. But, she'll take and invest by comparing the company's astrological charts to her own. And I've done this. I've seen this done. This isn't a big deal.
Well, but it is on the network.
It is on the network. We can't
and
do
that's
that.
That's kind of the problem, though.
Yeah.
Is like TikTok is sitting here doing this. Like, and I think sometimes this is the misunderstanding is there is a huge market growth.
Right.
That is occurring.
Right.
The problem is much of it is led. Right. And I'm not trying to trash people. I'm really not. But it's being led on, social media platforms where I'm going to go out on a limb and say most of these people are not very well trained. Let's call it that. I don't want to trash them, okay? Right. Because they don't know that professionally, if they are professional, they can't provide this advice.
Right.
Like, you really, really, really do not want to do this professionally.
Right.
So I'm trying to choose, because I think some of these people are well-intentioned. I think they may be perhaps even right. Like, I'll let it stand. The problem is professionally, you can't do it.
Right.
Like, this is advice that you are not qualified to give.
Right.
And in a way, it sucks, but the repercussions if you're wrong.
Right.
Like, if someone listens to you, bets their entire, life savings.
Right.
On your advice being right, and they lose it all, you better believe someone's suing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone's calling the FBI.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to not be happy and very cooperative.
Right.
So it has some very ugly...
Here, and I want to comment on this, so I'm going to have you read it.
Okay. All right. 1 second. Let me get that. But TikTok and Gen Z didn't conjure up skewed ideas about investment strategies from nowhere. There is, in fact, some historic precedence to stock talks, vibe-based day trading wisdom. J.P. Morgan famously said, millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do. Even the American financier trusted the stars to guide his decisions. Rumor has it he concealed his scheduled trip to the Titanic last minute because his astrologer warned against it. William Delbert Gann, an investor who made his fortune. That's all the text I got.
Oh, in the early 20th century, because here we go. I'll re-grab that.
Yes. I didn't realize it ran out until it ran out. So William Delbert Gann, an investor who made his fortune in the early 20th century, became renowned for using astrology, ancient mathematics, and geometry to inform his business decisions. Using certain angles, Gann claimed to predict market trends and identify the perfect time to buy shares. His charts are still accessible today, though the validity of his philosophy is hotly contested. After exhaustive research and investigations of the known sciences, Gann said in a 1909 interview, "I discovered that the law of vibration enabled me to accurately determine the exact points at which stocks or commodities should rise and fall within a given time. If you look at the correlation between the Dow Jones Industrial Average failing, and days with total solar eclipse, you could, for a moment, forgive Gann for his eccentric ideals. On or shortly after 5 of the 7 total solar eclipses, I'm assuming the Dow crashed.
Yes.
So get out. I mean, and you could call it any number of things. A coincidence. You could call it, oh, there we go. Since 1932, the Dow Jones fell, according to an analysis by Axios. Of course, there is another less vibe-forward explanation. The economy is often affected by eclipses as people travel to witness the event, disrupting travel and usual spending behaviors. Yeah?
Well, and here's my viewpoint of it: is like all these solar flares. Watch your stock market.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the stock market compared to a solar flare. It will shoot up and then it will shoot down.
Yeah. So Hartzmark still isn't convinced of Gann's dogma. Guys like Gann are bound to find success sometimes, he said, simply because the base rate of success for day trading is so low to begin with. A 2004 study that Hartzmark still cites from researchers of the Graduate School of Management at the University of California, Davis, and National Tsinghua University in Taipei, Taiwan, found that 130,000 individual investors, more than 80%, lost money in the practice. The few who made money didn't do so. Sorry.
Yeah, this is them trying to discredit it. The few that made money didn't do so with using it consistently.
Okay, so they used it.
Right.
Like, so it's kind of a question of the religiosity.
Right.
Words that I have trouble with. That you, like, I read it, I can't say. That you adopt the practice with is like, are you making big moves, or are you like literally like every 5 seconds, this is what I'm going to use to make every decision in my life?
Right. And see, with astrology, you can't do that. You've got to look at the higher level vibrational line, especially in Gann's information. He looks at the solar transformation, like eclipses and moon cycles, interactions with other planets. And I believe the interaction in Jupiter, if I remember correctly. Granted, this is something I maybe studied like 15 years ago. So I may be misquoting. If I am, someone can correct me in the comments. But no, like, there are a lot of people that use astrology to predict things. There's a lot of people that use astrology to hire people.
Or to plan appointments, or to sign contracts, or there's all kinds of things there. And then there's some kind is like you would also have to take into account there's sometimes going to be a placebo effect.
Right.
In which if everyone's like, if enough people are working off the same information and the same idea, you're gonna see an influence.
Right.
So then it kind of becomes, is the astrology right? Or is it that people believe the astrology would be right, acted upon it, and therefore confirmed it as right, because they all did the same thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's one of those moments.
Yeah. And it's one of those moments when it's like, what do we do with this? How do we use it? If we can use it. And the other part is using your clear senses. Meaning, does this sound like a good idea to invest in Kodak? Kodak famously has a 38 or 39-day cycle of investments. People can use it. You've got to know how to apply it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into this thing.
Right.
Is because, I mean, again, just simply believing that it'll work, if enough people do,
right,
they could find success just because they believe it'll work.
Right.
I mean, which is kind of a weird thing, but we see that in a lot of things.
Right.
Like, it's why the placebo effect exists.
Mm-hmm.
Is that for some people, if you tell them you're going to give them a medication that's going to make them better, even if you don't give them, you can give them Tylenol.
Right.
Or aspirin. Or, just filler of a medication without medication, and they will get better.
Right.
Power of positive thinking, the negative effects of negativity, like law of attraction, however you want to define it, there is a certain level of, well, yeah, that happens.
Right.
Like, it doesn't just mean you can get a cancer diagnosis and think it away. Like, go through your treatment, see your doctor, do the things. But there is it as an adjunct to appropriate medical care, and potentially the same to investment. That having a belief, a system, is better than no system at all.
Right.
Like if you're just throwing darts at a dartboard,
right,
you're unlikely to have any success.
Right.
Like I like there's that often quoted, like if you put enough monkeys in a room with typewriters, they would eventually create the works of Shakespeare.
Eventually, but that actually takes 7 generations of monkeys.
I still call it unlikely. Like I think that that's probability statistics run amok. You know what I mean? Like to a certain degree, that's probability statistics run amok. You might get a word here and there, but I don't think you're going to get the works of Shakespeare without having to comb through and reassemble it. Like there's never going to be a coherent.
Right.
Like all of a sudden this goes from garbage to that looks like the word cat to like, okay, we have the works of Shakespeare.
Right.
I don't think it's ever going to work out that way.
Well, again, it's one of those and this is one of those things you have to keep yourself together, keep your ideas together, keep your focusing together, and then balance it out. And what I mean by balancing it out is you balance out the forces going on. You balance out your knowledge versus your intellect, and you have to. It's almost like playing and learning patterns of behavior.
But I mean, but the same thing applies if you even look at like the superstitions around like nurses who will freak out if you say, "Wow, it's really quiet."
Shut up.
But how much of that is actually causative? And how much of it is just correlated?
Well, I promise you, quiet, full moons, I will say very nicely, shut up.
Yeah. Again, because it's been connected with, but I think every storm has a calm before it.
Right, but it's also evidence-based. I'm sorry, both of those are evidence-based. Lived them, worked them too many times.
True. I'm just saying, I think there's some families that have volatility, and the minute they have the realization that, like, everything's okay right now, someone dies. And it's like, is that causative because you had that thought? Is it correlative because,
Right.
someone happened to behave themselves because they didn't act like an ass because they didn't have the energy to?
Right.
Like, but you'll always hear like everything was going so well.
Right.
Everything had just finally gotten better.
Right.
And it's like,
But it hadn't.
Well, it's fundamentally like the ultimate. Yeah. Joe said, quiet, watch his customers blow up his phone. Oh, honey, they already have. Not during the show, but in general.
Yeah, watch me not be able to get up tonight. Thank you very fucking much.
What? Oh, you can't tell me we wouldn't love that deposit.
Oh, we're gonna love this weekend's deposit. That's all I have.
I'll buy you some Depends. It'll be fun.
You better do better than that. You better go buy me some fog lifter.
All right, fog lifter, thing. It Depends. It's a Walmart trip.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I'm sure it will be. But anyhow, but it is what it is. And I think it's interesting they're finally starting to talk about this because this crap's been going on forever. I've had people take my astrology classes just so they can learn how to invest in stocks. And it's like, it doesn't work that way.
Well, but it's better than nothing.
True.
I mean, fundamentally, it all comes down to as long as you have a system,
Right.
regardless of what it is, you're gonna do better than if you're just randomly
Right.
buying and selling stocks with no plan.
Right.
Like, even if it's not a great plan,
Mm-hmm.
it can still work out better.
Right.
Like, and I don't feel like that moves in the territory of financial advice. I think that's common sense that you have to have a plan. It doesn't have to be a great plan, but you have to have a plan.
Right.
Like,
and it's learning to use that plan and use that focus and learning how to actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to a school district that needs their asses handed to them.
Oh, which one? The public school history assignment or the California?
California.
All right. So, what is this? KRON. So California parents outraged by school district's $189,000 meditation deal. So from Mountain View, California, parents of students at Mountain View Wisman School District in Mountain View, California, are frustrated after finding out the district signed a $189,000 school-approved contract for what they describe as 160 quote-unquote guided meditation sessions for district leadership team members. Oh, the MVWSD signed an agreement with Alicia Diggs Chavez, owner of the Blue Violet Energy, and a self-described energy healer. Her practice averages about $1,200 per meditation session. According to the agreement initially reported by the by the Chronicle, Chavez services are designed to help leaders manage and reduce daily stress levels that negatively impact their well-being and therefore their effectiveness in their role. TikTok reveals Despite previously working with Chavez, school district leaders said they had never looked at Chavez's Blue Violet Energy website prior to hiring and signing the agreement with the spiritual healer. Parents expressed their concerns over the agreement and the lack of research done prior to signing it. I mean, normally when someone is hired, especially for the volume business that she's doing, people check the website, trying to insist that no mistakes were made given the situation. That's just burning credibility, said Chris Perry, a school board district parent. How in the world is it reasonable to spend more than $1,100 per hour on meditation sessions? Asked Moen Garothan, a school board district member. I want to ask you, would you spend that much of your own money on meditation? If not, how can you possibly think it's okay to spend our taxpayer money that way? Superintendent Dr. Anid Rudolph says the meditation sessions were first started several years ago by an in-house doctor. It really feels like we, as tax-paying parents, are just really being asked to spend more money than, frankly, I can afford, said parent Erica Rylick at Thursday's meeting. I'm just frustrated. KRON4 has reached out to MVWSD and Chavez for a statement and has not heard back as the publication of this report. $1,100 an hour for meditation?
Yeah, no, I could see that if that was a fucking classroom. Give me 100 students, give me 1,000 students to take through meditation. I could see that.
Yeah,
that's a little much.
And that's kind of the weirdness with this contract, is that like these are described as guided meditation sessions for district leadership team members. Now, in that contract, because there is a link to it, like that agreement goes on to like the description of services. The deliverable is wellness services for leadership team members. Description is facilitation of 160 one-on-one or group guided meditation sessions for district leadership team members. Sessions are customized to the participants' need and include education strategies for daily stress relief. Fee includes travel and material expenses and time for session preparation and follow-up. Again, if we were talking about a group session, granted, 160 of them seems excessive.
Right.
For group.
Right.
Like, how many groups? Like, 30 kids at a time? Like, that would still be, like, that would start to make more sense.
Yeah.
But it's still for district leadership. Like, is this...
My problem is this is just for district leadership. So we're looking at maybe 20 people. But this is individual.
Sessions of that?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't mean to be rude, but if you're doing district leadership, and if their entire leadership is only, say, 40 people, and you're doing 20 and 20,
right,
that's still 80 sessions. Last I checked, most school calendars only have 180 days of instructional time.
Right.
So in a school year, you're going to run like, what, one every 3 days? Give or take?
Basically.
Like 2 sessions once every 3 days.
Right.
What?
Yeah, that's insane.
I don't know what do you cover for 80 for that many sessions?
Well, see, those sessions would be like broken down, and those sessions should be about an hour and a half. Sacred geometry, Tibetan singing bowls, breath work. None of that seems usable to reducing stress. Aromatherapy for relaxation and pain relief, and energy flow for in-person, stone and crystal energy clearing and healing. I can understand all this, but this price is excessive for the amount of people. Now, if this was a contract to come into that district and provide all 5th graders a complete year, once a week, they're going to come in, they're going to study and do meditation and learn how to meditate and control stress, I could see this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like, but the way it's worded, it's like, unless this is a horribly worded, but if it is what it says it is, it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, that's again, if we're talking a total staff of 40 people.
Right.
Again, I'm trying to pick a number.
Right.
that would start to make it reasonable.
Well,
So
this is what I don't get. She has a corporate program.
mhm.
Like I have corporate programs. This corporate program is custom designed to meet the specific needs of your company. That means that everyone could do a full session, a full presentation and education and workshop on meditation. That I could see as a reasonable price. Okay.
Well, even with a staff of 40, that
Yeah.
would be 4 $1,100 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And I still struggle to figure out, what do you do
Right.
for 4 sessions worth $4,400?
Right. But no, this is 160 one-on-one sessions.
Mhm. Well, and that's what I was saying, is if there is a staff of 40,
Mm-hmm.
and they do, that would give them, the 160 would give 40 people 4 one-on-one sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm just trying to find numbers that make it make sense.
Right. It doesn't make sense. Okay.
And it's like, I still can't fathom what you do for $4,400.
Right.
For 4 hours.
Right.
For 40 people.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. This is insane. Okay. I don't understand why they're booking 160 sessions.
Yeah, that seems
Okay. When they could be doing the more corporate package and getting the same benefit. And this may be them not understanding how to handle, not the practitioner, but the district not coming at, not being able to present themselves properly.
We'd like by 160 sessions, please.
Right.
I mean, but who asks for that?
Right. Oh,
You
honey.
know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you get clients that have come in and have booked like a 1-hour appointment. It's
Right.
usually our first clue someone's a newbie.
Mm-hmm.
Like you booked an hour with Asen. All right.
Yeah. Like you better be coming in for you better have a list of questions. Your life better look like it's on fire. Because there are some clients that do need an hour session.
There are totally clients that need an hour session, but typically new clients are
Mm-hmm.
really big on thinking they need an hour.
Right.
But then those are the calls. It's like, you have a 1-hour appointment block. You go into an appointment.
Right.
Okay, he has a 1-hour appointment. 5 minutes later, you're done. I thought you had an hour, like you're up and roaming the house. And so I thought you had a 1-hour appointment. Did they not answer? Oh no, they answered.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell are you done in 5 minutes? That's all the questions they had.
Yeah. What am I supposed to work on?
They were done. I'm like, well, damn.
Right.
Like, I hope the question they had was a big one.
Well, of course.
You know what I mean? Like, I would feel bad for someone to spend an hour's worth of money.
Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people.
Their district leadership is 5?
Is 5.
Oh, dear God. Let me bring the calculator back up, because I'm sure that's going to be fun. So 160 sessions divided by 5 people. That is 32 sessions.
Yeah.
Per person.
Mm-hmm.
32 sessions per person.
Right. That's 1 a week.
Like, I'm sorry, can we not find them a really good therapist? Because, I mean, therapy rates are cheaper than $1,100 an hour.
Well, can we not bring these sessions to the students?
Well, that would be great. And again, maybe that's what they're trying to contract for, and it's just been horribly.
Right.
Like, again, I'm trying to view this in any positive light, because
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's sometimes it's just, I have done invoices where it's been like, it's a horse trade. There are 3 different ways I can enter what I just did.
Mm-hmm.
Like professionally, there's a few different ways I can put in what I just did. And sometimes you do just like, it gets us where we're going to be. I like, I've done that before. The companies I've worked with are well aware. It's like, I don't even know what to charge you for. So it's like, we're just going to call this my technical rate.
Right. But that in general clarifies one of the clarificational things about after the 50% of this project, it'll be moved over to a monthly maintenance fee.
Okay.
That explains that monthly maintenance fee.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're buying packages
Well, but it's
at a bulk rate.
Yeah, but it's still confusing. So we'll invoice in multiple installments. The first installment, 50% of project costs shown above. 50% of what's shown above will be invoiced upon project initiation. So this is the gross contract.
Right.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Again, this starts to sound like you just kind of threw crap into your invoicing program and went, that's what I'm going to bill.
Right. But they bought they're trying to buy this big, huge package for the 5 board of trustees leadership team to do her meditational program, which it looks to be a decent program. But it's not designed for school board people. It's designed for CEOs, corporate executives. Like, that's why it's built that way.
Right. So, yeah, if we take half of that,
right,
still, it's confusing. Like,
right.
Even if there's nothing untoward, let's call it that, going on here,
right,
it's still an ugly way to bill it, especially if you're going to go through like a public review and trying to defend it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those moments of think it before you do it. That, like, I mean, again, I've had horse trading invoices before where it's like, I don't even know how to bill you for this.
Right.
And I mean, seriously, it's like, we'll just put it in the memo. Because fundamentally it's not one of my standard services.
Right.
But it's close enough to this that we'll just call it that and just pop it through. But I think this is one of those moments of like, stop, go back, fix this. Might be worth the time to invest in setting up a new service.
Well, the way the service is built, I think that it's built correctly for the service provided. But I do not think that it's correct for the public school to be buying it.
Okay.
Well,
still, though, I mean,
yeah.
I just struggle with the idea. Like, again, what do you do for an executive?
Mm-hmm.
Even like you're JP Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Dimon, better. You're Jamie Dimon.
Right.
What do you do for 32 sessions for Jamie Dimon at $1,100 an hour? Like,
well,
what are you offering?
Well, first we're going to look at his life's problems, his life. This is if it was my practice. We're going to go through and we're going to do a life inventory. Once we get the life inventory, the areas that are low inventory, meaning that there's like maybe he has problem with family, communication. JP Morgan and Dimon both have self-worth issues. That's why they're always overworking. Then we're going to be working on those blockages within his life to build those sections of his life up.
Okay, but how does that contrast? Like, if you're justifying $1,100 for 32 sessions for Jamie Dimon,
right?
How does that contrast and make it worth $1,100 versus, Mary Jo who's a Mountain View school district leader.
She's not going to have the same technicalities. She's not going to have the same life inventory to take. Like, we're not going to be discussing her leadership stress with, one decision you make could end the thousands of jobs.
But one decision this school board leader makes could potentially kill kids.
Again, there's a difference, and there's a difference in decision making. There's a difference in life complications. Like, she's not going to have staffing problems at home. She's not going to have wife and husband problems at the level of JP Morgan does.
Okay.
She's not going to be putting in 19 hours a day trying to run 16 corporations and feeling disconnected from her husband or wife.
Okay. Sorry, I was just trying to understand, like, what is a reasonable cost, which I'm thinking probably gets down around the more reasonable therapy rate of like $150 to $250 an hour.
For a private session at this, and see, here's the other thing, is they're buying a name. So at this person's caliber of expertise, I would say we're looking at about $250 to $350 per session.
Okay.
Now, if this was a program designed to go into the whole school system, I could see this price at that level of calibration.
Yeah, but you wouldn't need 160.
You have 160 teachers.
So one session per teacher, one-on-one.
Right.
Okay.
Or putting all the teachers, which, give me a moment. Let me go back to see, I love the internet. Like, it allows me to dig into shit.
Well, I was just kind of having the moment of, like, if you had 160 teachers, let's just say 160 teachers in the school district, and you were to give each of them a one-on or a group session for $1,100, would you really need 160 sessions?
Right.
In a year?
160, no. Okay, apparently there are 656 employees in this district. I'm not going to try to decide which ones are teachers or which ones not. I would be doing some group sessions and some private sessions. And yeah, it could take a year to work through that whole district and get them through Re-Empower Your Life or Take Charge of Your Life program, both life coaching courses I offer. Yeah, I could do that in a year.
All right. And would $189,000 for that make more sense?
Yes.
Okay. Like, as in, is that a reasonable price? Like, that's good money. I would definitely take it.
Yeah, that's a reasonable price.
Okay. Like, I was just trying to figure out, like, if you were doing 600, if you were doing that service for groups of teachers, that many teachers, 600 and some, right, and you're providing all the materials, the crystals, all of the things,
right?
Incense, aromatherapy, yada yada yada. And you're doing group, and you're doing one-on-ones, and you're doing, I'm sure, a leadership update and some leadership counseling as well.
All of them should have leadership counseling if I was doing the whole thing. Yeah, actually, I probably would have built higher. I'll send you the number to do the whole district, and you can math it out because, I don't speak out math well.
Okay.
That would be for the whole year, the full district, to go through my life coaching program.
Okay. 1 second while I copy and paste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then that would be a steal at 189,000.
Yeah.
Like, because you're more than an order of magnitude above that.
Yeah. But that's 686 employees. Like, I'm putting the janitor and the superintendent through the same program.
Okay. I mean, that would be a lot of people. I think this may be a really unclear project agreement.
Right.
Like, it's the most agreement.
Yeah, the contracts are bullshit. My corporate contracts are much more filled in there.
Yeah. But I mean, it's ultimately like, if that is the case, if that's the game plan, then I think you can get more people on board with it.
Right.
And it's just the unclear contract problem. And ultimately led to a bunch of parents going, the fuck? Is this?
Right. And it's labeled meditation, which is different than life coaching.
Yeah.
Guided meditational services.
Yeah, it sounds like one thing that it isn't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that's going to be an integrated part of it, but it's life coaching.
Yeah, it's life coaching. It's real actively interacting in your life. What I do is I sit down and go, all right, we're going to take inventory of your life. You're going to come back to me and you're going to have the areas that we need to work on. And then we're going to work on them. And if you don't work on them, you're going to get charged extra because we're going to go back and go over your goals again.
Yeah. But 689 employees in a school district.
Mm-hmm. At an hour and a half is 1,600 hours.
Yeah. Like, doesn't that seem like a lot for one person to try to tackle?
No.
Okay. Sorry, there's only... No, I mean, like, you're one independent practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a lot. Because, I mean, 40 times 52 is only 2,080 hours a year.
Right.
So this is someone working like 4 times full time.
Well, you got to understand, let's say most of these are group sessions.
Okay.
And school week is not 80 hours. Let's say that she comes in, it's 8. Her first appointment is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So she's going to work 9 hours a day.
Okay. So 9 times 5. So that's
45
hours a week.
All right. So we had it at 8,016 divided by 45 equals 178 weeks. So yeah, there's got to be group sessions involved.
Yeah. That's what I was saying, is that's a lot of working time.
Yeah.
Like, she would have to do 90 hours a week just to service the school district.
Mm-hmm.
Just to service the school district.
Right.
And then she has a private practice?
This would take over her private practice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, right. I don't know many people who would dump their private practice. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are companies that do this all the time before a Walmart contract.
Right.
That will literally dump all of their other distribution channels and go strictly Walmart because the contract is so much money.
Right.
And the minute Walmart changes its mind or goes, well, this isn't selling as well as we thought, your business is dead. The school district takes her on and this becomes a bigger issue.
Right.
Your business is dead.
Right.
What business? You have no business. There's no contract.
Well, she still would have her books. She still would have her other things that are part of this business. See, this is this is what I'm feeling with looking at this and going into more detail. This school district had a beer budget and a champagne taste.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And I think she somehow gave them a gift. at 189,000 for what they wanted to do,
Right.
but then created a contract that looks like pure and total garbage.
Yeah.
Like, it horribly represents it, and it gets a number on paper,
Right.
and it's a horse trade of like, and I keep calling it that, and what I mean is like, it's that I'm going to work you a deal. It's a better price than you ought to have,
right,
for what you want. And we're just going to let it all, it'll come out in the wash. Don't worry
right.
about it. It's that mentality. And I do that. I've done that for clients with invoices where it's like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I have a number I can reasonably do. And we're going to invoice it this way.
Right.
And you know this, I know this, we know this, we're aware.
Right.
We put it in the memo line. If your accountant has an issue, we will have to explain this. Because it's not going to be quick and easy, but I don't feel like going and reprogramming my whole system.
Right.
To try to make it easy.
Right. But this should have been a more customizable contract. And I'm sorry, this is a personal service. Like, if JP Morgan's coming to me or Diamond sits down with me, I don't even know I could service him because we have to get straight. But if Diamond sat down with me, it would be coming out of the Diamond Family Trust, not from Chase Morgan Manhattan Group. And that's the problem that I think any parent should have. Is this is a personal service.
Well, depending could have very professional impact. Like, and could be part of a district idea of trying to better their employees, increase their work-life balance, improve their employee satisfaction, and deal with problems that are like, they are personal, but are negatively impacting their ability to do their jobs.
Right.
Because this is a high-stress field.
Right.
Like, and I think everyone can appreciate that there is no teacher, district leader, or admin that is not highly stressed.
Right. And needs clear action plans to manage that stress. Okay. Guided meditation isn't going to do that. Guided meditation is going to allow them to connect with their higher selves. That's wonderful. That does not manage stress.
Yeah. Like, that's
right.
Go take a class in the summer. That's a you thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's a you moment. You go do guided meditation. Maybe our health insurance plan covers it. Right. But in terms of professional, this would ultimately be a form of professional development.
Right. All right. So let's hop over and do the Reddit. Let's skip all the additives and go into the psychic Reddit.
All right. So Psychic Reddit asks, do we need to just meditate to develop psychic abilities? So I wanted to develop my intuition for helping me to make better decisions overall. What is the way only meditation, or it's something comes on its own, like God gifted, or it opens up at its own will? Are there any other ways to develop it? Also, I have been naturally leaving my body, but my astral travel sometimes gets stuck inside the area of my house. Is it because of restrictions of my own mind, or I don't have access to visit other realms?
You do not have the strength to visit other realms. Your leash, which is that silver cord that attaches to your belly, from your belly button to your solar plexus, keeps you within the guise of your house, because your muscle, your psychic muscle, the labellum in your brain, is not strong enough to go further.
So time to train.
Yes, you've got to train. Now, meditation is a lovely practice that can aid you in your training. It is not the only part of training. Practice using your twos, precognition, repetitive practices, using your practices, learning to use your gut instincts, Having someone take you out in the woods and blindfold you, they're out there to protect you for your safety, but using your mind to navigate you.
All right.
Yeah, there's a whole level of psychic development that this generation isn't even looked into yet.
Hey, they'll get there.
They'll get there. I don't know. I've looked at some psychic development classes, and it's like, oh, we meditate and we draw a card a day and we journal. But where's the actual skill use? You can't learn to drive by reading the driver's manual and then reading your car manual. You have to get out and get on the road.
Do you think that some of this is because we're breaking it down into bite-sized pieces, and because I've started to kind of notice this is that there are those who offer the services, but like their introductory levels are just like, I thought that was covered in the first 15 minutes. Well, what do you mean that's a 3-session class?
Right. And it's because psychics journal differently. Psychics develop skills differently, and they're trying to make the intro to psychic development. And this is the reason why I haven't designed this class, is because I'm having a problem breaking it down to, okay, understanding how to communicate with your guide. All right, you've got to find your own system. Like David and me, we have our own system of communicating. My process is different than every other psychic I know. Most of them are like, my guide doesn't talk to me like your guide talks to you. Why is that? Because I've worked with him for 40 some years now. We know each other pretty well. Mm-hmm. You know, getting to that directional comfortability of building that guide relationship and seeing them as not part of you is a very large mindscape. Understanding that the information you receive is the information you receive. Doubting it, questioning it, there's no room for it.
Which is, I guess, in some instances, a lot to cover.
Right.
Which I can understand it, but it seems like a lot of the classes are getting broken down like very granularly, but then stretched. And so it's like things that I've previously seen that are like, this is like, the first 15 minutes of a class.
Right.
And then there's only like a 3-class series, and like you go from total novice, don't know what the hell this is, to you are a certified professional expert. Right. Are now like, oh my God, there are college degrees that take less to get. Because now it's like, we're going to spend a whole class on that 15 minutes, and we're going to spend a class on this 10 minutes. And this is a whole other class series. Right. And then this is a whole other class series. And it's like you could get a college degree,
right,
in about the same time and money.
Well, yeah, you can, and but it's being stretched in quote unquote stretches because we now have to include so much more into that class, because you understand what mandalas are, you understand what meditation, but you should understand the basic principles of meditation. And mindfulness and vibration, and some people don't. Like they've never gotten vibrational practices.
Okay, so this is kind of the so to speak industry reaction to, all right, that didn't work.
Right.
Like we turned out some dummies. Like I'm sorry, I'm using horrible words, but it's like we had people who went through the class and they were just about as useless after as they were before.
Exactly. My master degree, that was 27 lessons. It was 3.5 years. And like the first lesson was on daily practices. We never touched daily practices again. I just recently looked up the updated coursework. That is a complete semester.
Okay.
Of daily practices.
It was a segment, and now it's a whole class.
Right, because, example, vibrational eating has so much more impactment to it, because now we've got to look at non-GMO foods and, the applied sciences of types of meat and the applied, like when I took that class, there was organic and non-organic. There was a discussion on which was better, and at that time it was like there is nothing organic on this planet any longer.
Okay.
Because there isn't. The air has been polluted, the water has been polluted, the land has been polluted for centuries. There's no way you can classify that as naturally organic. And then when all the seeds are coming from Monsanto, that is now being the only, even growing it from home on ancestral, on not ancestral, heirloom seeds, you're not going to get the same vibrational food that someone from 1901 got.
Or 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understandable. But I mean, and Brenda makes the comment, they feed you information with a baby spoon now, even if you don't have questions.
Right.
Is it, I'm really not trying to be upsetting or dismissive or ugly about this. But like, I was just trying to clarify, is it that, like, and I know I chose horrible words, but is it that, you know, is it trying to meet the needs of people because we've already learned what doesn't work?
No, it's because things are so much more complicated and we're having to work through such a deeper filter than we've had before. Okay, because we have so many things that impact. All right, let's just take your morning. I'm going to take Joe's morning because I know Joe's morning by heart.
Okay.
Joe wakes up from bed. He goes to the bathroom. He comes back. He sits on bed. He smokes a couple cigarettes and he grabs his phone. And he starts inviting people into my bedroom.
Oh, it's not as dirty
TikTok, Facebook, video. No. My morning, I get up, I go and turn on an informational video, I do my gratitude journaling, I do my journaling, I review my schedule, I do my meditation. If I have time, I do yoga, I go and take a lovely shower. Other than the humans in my house and the animal in my house, animals, because she's always around me, I've not dealt with any other energy. I'm allowed to coalesce and bring my vibration into a stronger state.
Well, and the YouTube.
Yeah, and the YouTube video, which is something normally, you know, productivity, you know, it's very focused into gaining my mindset into the way I need it to be for the day.
Okay. Again, I'm not trying to be challenging. I was just like, but you've got YouTube people.
Right, YouTube people. But it's not this fast-paced, quick information, in and out, in and out, in and out, nothing really soaking in. If you ask him what he watched this morning, he won't be able to tell you.
No.
Yeah.
It was funny. I scrolled on.
Yeah. You know,
it was not funny. I also scrolled on.
Exactly. Whereas, like, I think I will rewatch The Secret this morning.
Oh.
Okay. So these are the, you know, this is allowing me to simulate my energy to get ready for my day. This used to be able to be taught, boom, done, we're over with. Now we have to fight the TikTok, fight the impulse to have a cell phone by your bed, fight, you know, explain that, no, you have to do that. This process has to be followed this way to get into this mindset. And then they've thrown in some useless shit like saging and, you know, all this other stuff.
Make it pretty.
Make it pretty. Make it fit Llewellyn's current publishing style, which apparently it's angels. You know, so calling in your angels in the morning. But this is all. These are steps we've had. Like, we didn't used to have to break down why you take a shower in the mornings. What's the energy influences to resetting your energy in the mornings? What's the cause and effect of not taking a shower in the morning? What's the cause and effect of not keeping your body hydrated during your psychic work. And now we do.
Okay. So is it that we have more environmental challenges? We
Right.
have more people challenging and questioning, or a little bit of column A and B?
A, B, and D.
Okay.
As in, people do not understand a lot of things that were common factors.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So Brenda says, I don't think there are as many of us exposed to things now as we were. Grandma, aunts, older neighbors teaching you and pointing out plants, things you should or shouldn't do, and the ways to fix problems, etc. They start out at zero, where we started with more basic knowledge.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I'm just trying to ask. Like, sometimes we say things and it's
Right.
like, okay, but like, it sounds like there's a whole greater like preamble
Right.
to get there.
Right. And it's because, well, it's like if we started you on a running program today, used to be you'd start on a running program by walking a mile. Once you got to a mile, you build up that mile till where you start to naturally progressively run. Now we have to start at like a tenth of a mile and then build up. It's like we have to take smaller steps to get the student to the same place that they would get to.
Well, because the world did fundamentally change. Like stranger
Well, it did.
danger, parents who don't want to let their kids out of their sight that legally can't.
Right.
All of it kind of builds up, and you end up with kids who sit on couches and use devices. And
Right.
that's it. That's their life, like fundamentally. And trying to go from that to actively fitness conscious, there's an in between. There's
Right.
a lot.
And then actively psychic conscious, there's a huge in between because, like, I follow this one instructor. I love Phyllis to death. She's out of England. She was having to teach a class on how to have fun
Okay.
for adults. They didn't know how to have fun.
Oh no.
And I'm like,
now, is that out of like the playdate generational concept? Like parents who organized all fun activities, like you didn't really have independent play?
right.
Okay.
Yeah. Like no independent play, no imagination, no taking a stick and a few boxes and being able to just go out in the backyard.
Okay.
Yeah. But see, that really is part of learning how to read symbols because they're not textual creations. Symbols are symbols. Okay. It's like emoticons. We all have standard emoticons. We all have standard symbols that mean something. And I'm going to pick on Brenda. You know, we were talking about money and finances, and it's like, oh my goodness. We all know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were trying to, figure out Brenda's sign for love and appreciation, it's not going to be an emoticon. It may be, 3 lines in the air. It may be the smell of roses. And if you don't have that concept of fun, unconstructive, allowing the mind to drift fun, then you can't find symbols. And if you can't find symbols, then you really have a very high deficit in your clairvoyant area.
Well, it's a lack of the abstract.
Right.
Well, because that's basically the difference between abstract and concrete.
Right.
Like, at least conceptually, and you would kind of see that play over into art. Right. Like in some instances, the picture is the picture is the picture. It depicts a scene. There's iconography. There's deeper meaning. And then there's abstract art that is whatever you think it is.
Right. And
It's
that's why we're not
says,
seeing a proliferation of coffee reading, of tea leaf reading, of crystal ball reading. You're not seeing those skilled individuals because those are the other, like, and I'm saying the 20 to 40 range, because they don't have that abstractical thinking to where they can see the pattern within the pattern.
Yeah, because they're also the generation most affected by school systems reduced funding,
Mm-hmm.
and so they yanked basically all the arts out of the school.
Right. And they had
So
play dates.
well, and all of their fun was constructed. All the things that they've done are constructed. They're supposed to be educational. It's never
Mm-hmm.
just fun.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have a purpose. It doesn't go to a higher goal. It doesn't.
Right.
You know what? It's just these are kids having fun.
Right.
Like that's it. That's the whole thing. There's no,
Right.
they're not trying to make YouTube content. They're not trying to earn a grade. They're not trying to learn a skill.
Mm-hmm.
They're not trying to do
Right.
anything,
Right.
but entertain themselves with their own ideas.
Right. And and then we have virtual teaching, which is a whole different concept because like one of the learning to trust your gut was like taking your students out in the woods, blindfolding them, and telling them to find their way to home.
What, in the 50s?
No, this was in the 90s.
Even my school district would have been like,
No, this is psychic training. This isn't school.
Oh, psychic training. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I was like, no.
Right.
Jesus. So yeah, Brenda says, like in my family, for a death, great grandma saw a piece of black clothing being put on. Grandma saw something else.
Right.
Mom saw a black funeral wreath hanging. I see something different than them.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same item, the same thing is going to have different representations.
Right.
Well, which I can follow. But the fundamental idea being that if you have none of that,
Right.
then no, you don't even know what you're looking at if you're looking at anything.
Exactly.
Like, what do you show someone who doesn't know what hot is?
Right.
That would indicate hot to them that they would understand as hot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's that level of, like it's you have to tell them it is hot.
Right. Well,
and then you have to explain what hot is.
Right. And it's like, I can go through my house without the lights on. Like everyone else is like, let me turn the light on. And it's like, please don't. I'm trying to practice.
I try not to turn on lights for you, but I
know.
I have the other issue of like you turn the lights off and I get sleepy.
Uh-huh.
And it's like I can't be sleepy this many hours a day. Like I can't roll from my totally working 5 o'clock into, okay, honey, wake up. I'm gonna like sit here till you. Now we're both asleep.
Right.
Like I need my light, man.
I get that, but what I'm saying is these are like, and there are houses now that as you move through the house, the lights automatically turn on. These are like skills and techniques that you have to really now break down to basic, what is a mouse concepts.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even that's getting complicated.
Right.
Like, it's kind of like everyone finds it funny that, you show a certain generation of people a floppy disk and they're like, who 3D printed the save icon?
Right.
Because there's not the connection. Like
right.
There's an understanding that's a storage.
Right.
There's not a connection to that's a floppy disk that goes in a floppy drive because they've never seen a floppy drive or used a floppy disk in it. Right. And that's just that technology changed. Like I don't mean it insulting to anyone. Technology changed. No one uses floppies anymore. I don't even know what I could save in my life on a floppy diskette without spanning multiple disks.
That's a good question. But, looking at it currently, in the current practices, yeah, it's an expanded long course. that people are taking when we look back at, like, let's go back to the Fox sisters. They were teaching people how to be mediums in a week. That course is now like 10 years long now.
Okay.
Well, because they didn't have to cover vibrational foods, they didn't have to cover vibrational water, what is in our water that affects our bodies and the effects of our water. They didn't have to do any of that.
Okay.
But,
I mean, fair enough. I was just trying to understand, like, what is the precipitation?
Yeah.
That it seems like everything is elongating.
Right.
Into bigger classes, longer class series, multiple classes, whole years of study.
Right. And that's because things have gotten so complicated. Because, psychic life, being psychic affects every part of your life.
And the inverse is true. Every part of your life is going to affect being psychic. Gotcha.
All right, guys, let's take a break and we'll be back.
Alrighty.
Love diving into metaphysical topics, psychic insights, and lively discussions? Now you can help keep the conversation going. By becoming a Patreon supporter of The Psychic Coffee Shop, you'll gain access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and special perks just for our patrons. Join our community and ensure that your favorite psychic show continues to thrive. Your support helps us bring more enlightening episodes, special guests, and deep dives into the world of the unseen. Become a patron today and enjoy a cup of wisdom with us every week. Click the link to join the baristas and unlock exclusive content. Thank you for your support.
Unlock your full potential with Eason Knight's life coaching. Are you ready to take control of your life and manifest the future you deserve? Eason Knight, a seasoned life coach and master psychic, is here to guide you on a transformative journey. Whether you're navigating personal challenges, career transitions, or seeking spiritual growth, Eason's life coaching services offer tailored guidance to help you achieve your goals. With Eason by your side, you'll discover the tools to overcome obstacles, embrace your true self, and create a life filled with purpose and fulfillment. His unique blend of spiritual insight and practical coaching empowers you to turn your dreams into reality. Ready to make a change? Book your session today and start your journey to a more empowered, balanced, and joyful life with Eason Knight. Click the link to schedule your first session and step into your power.
Are you ready for an electrifying podcast experience that keeps you coming back for more? Join Eason Knight every week as he takes you on a journey through captivating shows, each exploring unique and fascinating topics. And here's the best part. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode where you can get your burning questions answered live on air, absolutely free. Whether it's relationship advice, career guidance, or mystical insights, Eason's podcasts have got you covered. When you subscribe, you become part of a vibrant community, engaging directly with Eason as he shares his wisdom and leaves you feeling empowered and enlightened. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and be part of the conversation. What you'll get by subscribing: Monday 5 p.m. Metaphysics. Today, soulful conversations with Eason Knight and Firefly, exploring the essence of metaphysics in today's world. Tuesday 8 p.m. The Psychic Coffee Shop. Dive into current events with a psychic twist, featuring special guests and thought-provoking discussions. Friday 9 p.m. The Mountain Bears Podcast. Lively discussions from a gayish, techie-ish, bearish perspective with Eason and Joe. Sunday 5 p.m., Psychic That Plans. Get a weekly tarot energy overview and time management tips from Eason Knight. Click here to subscribe now and never miss an episode. By subscribing, you're not just tuning in, you're joining a community of curious minds and ensuring you're always in the loop with Eason's insightful and interactive shows. Don't wait. Hit that subscribe button and get ready for an amazing podcast journey.
Ready for an enchanting journey of self-discovery? Join Lord Eason Knight in our Wicca courses. Unveil the secrets of Wicca. Explore deity relationships, rituals, and more. As a third-degree high priest, Eason Knight guides you toward empowerment and enlightenment. Enroll today and take your first step into the magical circle. Click the link to begin your journey.
Psychic Saturday, Get 50% off with Eason Knight every third Saturday of the month. Don't miss out. Book now.
All right, welcome back. All right, it's time to find out if you're an asshole.
All right. Am I the asshole? I told my son that he, and men in general, are allowed to have preferences. I can't believe I'm really here, but here we are. I'm posting anonymously in hope my wife doesn't find this and decide to suffocate me with a pillow, because she is big mad. Our mid-30s male-female couple, son, 14, has been casually dating a girl his age for about a year. Watching the relationship develop has felt bizarre. They don't text often, don't ever call, mostly just hang out at school and game together afterwards. Still, they seem like good friends, and my wife really, really likes this girl, or the idea of her, that she's met a handful of times and spent maybe 20 minutes around. She's always wanted a daughter, and after being cursed with 3 sons after 3 tries, our oldest son's girlfriend has become her surrogate. She seems sweet, but very shy, very timid. Our son has been expressing reservations about the relationship since school started a month ago. She's too quiet, she's not into anything, etc. Then yesterday, he let slip that she wasn't his physical type, and he's debating ending it. My wife was furious. She tried asking him if other boys were pressuring him or something, but no, the girl just isn't his type. He's 14. In my opinion, he's literally supposed to be figuring this stuff out now. Well, it escalated. She started telling him that it was chauvinistic and shallow to break up with this girl, and then drop the bomb. What happens if you can't get another girlfriend and you're stuck alone? He's an art kid, friendly to the extreme and all, but short and kind of chubby and definitely not popular, though he has his own friend group. Frankly, I do not agree, and I don't like the idea of almost pressuring him to settle. I told him he and all men, women, or whatever are allowed to have preferences and choose their partners based on them. Being rejected because he isn't someone's type is guaranteed to happen. More so, I told him that he shouldn't be pressured into dating a girl just because she's nice. Leading the girl on, that's wrong. Breaking up because you don't like her personality? Fine. Because you view her as more of a friend? So fine. Because she isn't your physical type? Also fine. My wife is furious. She's told me I'm a chauvinist, a typical Kyle, because I use the stereotype of height as an example of a female preference, and worse, I'm turning my sons into carbon copies of the same. More so, now, this has somehow deflected to our relationship and our preferences, and. Everything was going great this week, and when we jokingly talked about it this morning, I had no idea the shitstorm that was about to be unleashed. So Reddit, am I the asshole here?
No.
Oh, I'm going to go with not the asshole, but damn, someone needs therapy.
Yes, the wife.
Whew. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and try to claim that, I think there might be a touch, just a touch, a hair of imperfection in trying to quickly explain to a 14-year-old how choosing a partner and relationships and dating works based on the situation that they're in, which is, this doesn't seem to be working.
Well, here's the thing. He's 14. I guarantee you by 21, he will have at least 20 girlfriends. Maybe more if he's a little bit more adventurous.
Probably 50 sometimes.
Right. I do not
you know what I mean?
care for the wife, putting pressure on her of, oh, well, you might not get another one. Excuse me?
At 14?
At 14.
Like, that's one, I have so many problems with that. Like, the self-esteem that's got me. To be told this is your only choice, you have to take it.
Right.
At 14. It's like, what in the 15th century
Right.
are you trying to do to this kid?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this sounds like you're trying to arrange a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's part of the culture of this issue, but I doubt it.
Right.
It doesn't really sound that way. It doesn't sound like there's some mental justification here that OP is doing. Like, you know, we're culturally different. You know, like none of that's occurring. So I'm having to make some assumptions. I don't think they're wrong, but fundamentally, it's like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, I'm sorry you didn't get the children you want.
Right.
And I find it a little hypocritical that in that, like, because you didn't get the female child that you wanted, that you're hypocritically turning around, and because your preference wasn't met, your children aren't allowed to have them?
Yeah.
Like, it's very
ridiculous. Right.
Like, what? Like, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of parents that try to push their kids into relationships. I think some of it is like this cutesy idea of like the 14-year-old's girlfriend, and, you know, I really like her, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And, like, I'm sorry. I no. Just, no. Please, dear God, no. I mean, stop. Can we just stop enforcing the idea that people have to date? Yeah. Especially children. In order to be happy, to have it all, to...
Right.
And that, like, you're supposed to, at 14, as a teenager, be finding the, you know, the one.
Right.
Like,
why?
More importantly, I don't even think she's considering the girl in this.
Right.
Like, I mean, be as nice as you want to as the guy, as her son hopefully is.
Right.
Is the girl happy? Is she maybe also having a moment of like, this isn't working?
Right.
Like, why don't you consider her? You know, like, does she deserve this? That the only reason your son's going to now stay with her,
right,
is because you have basically beaten the self-esteem out of him to think he can ever get anyone else?
Right.
What? Like, that's what you think this girl deserves, is a future husband. That you're going to force to stay in this relationship for no other reason than you're never going to do better.
Right.
Fundamentally. What?
What? Yeah, and furthermore, he's 14. Why are you in his love life?
Yeah, like, please don't. Like, that's where I'm always at. It's like, please don't.
Yeah,
like,
this is going from mother-in-law of hell.
Like, I try not to be dismissive of people, like kids especially, that start talking about their girlfriends and their boyfriends and whatever. I try not to be dismissive. But I also try to hold on to, this is probably not going to last forever and is subject to change faster than underwear. Okay? Like, you know, go out, explore the world, talk to a lot of people, figure out what you want.
Right.
You know, I don't. I thought that was the deal. I think we all think that's the deal. I think Mom is the odd person out.
Very much so.
On not getting this as the deal.
Right. So the poll is up. You get the judge of dad's the asshole for informing the child that he should choose his own mate. All right. So my original loving relationship got pulled. So let's go to the one I just posted to you.
All right. So relationship advice. I, 32 female, failed as a wife and have never been there for my husband, 34 male. How do I start to fix this? My 32 female husband, 34 male, and I started dating 10 years ago. We have been married for 8 and have 3 kids, and we have been hoping for number 4 as of late. He's a wonderful husband, and he does so much for me and our kids. I thought I was a great wife to him, but I recently realized that I truly am not. Last week, something terrible happened that left my husband needing emergency surgery and spending a few days in the hospital. When he was discharged and able to come home and we were able to sleep together, he held me closer than ever, and I couldn't help but break down in tears and tell him about how scared I was and how getting that call and seeing him in the hospital made me feel like my worst fear of losing him was coming true. He just comforted and reassured me that he was fine and everything would be okay. In that moment, I realized that in our entire relationship, he has always had to comfort me, even when he was the one who was suffering, and I should be the one comforting him. I thought back to when he got laid off from his job a few years ago, when his mother passed away, when I said terrible things and called him terrible names during our second pregnancy and more. Every time I failed to see how he was impacted and focused on my own feelings. He was the one directly affected, but he still comforted and reassured me every time. It took my husband ending up in a hospital and requiring surgery for me to realize how I've never truly been there for my husband when he needed me the most, and still he has loved me unconditionally. I don't know how I can even start to make up for this. How do I fix this without pushing my husband away?
I'm going to sound weird, but you have to look at your dynamic. He may be the one that is always there. Always, he is the one in control. Control of emotions, control of feelings, and he doesn't need the backup.
I still think with that, the awareness is the starting point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Is that like just being aware.
Right.
That like this is how you've acted towards your husband.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think you have to go to great lengths to like fix this.
Right.
As much as being aware of it and trying.
Right.
Like, try to be more understanding. Try to be more comforting. Try to understand that this is also impacting him. Like, having that kind of running as a background program is that, like, how is this affecting him? How is he? What is this doing to him? Just kind of running on the surface. Just sitting back there and just taking the moment to acknowledge him as a human being. Not just this provider support network thing that's always there for you and is totally focused on your feelings and how you feel and what you're doing and making you happy and comforting you.
Right.
Just the awareness. Because that tends to be the seed of that. Of like, it's almost the question of how is your husband the way that he is?
Right.
And it's because on the surface, there's this running program of how is this affecting her? How is this affecting the kids? How is this going to affect our future? How is this going to, just kind of running, informing decisions, making him, think through sentences a little more carefully and go, do I want to fight about this in 10 years?
Right.
Is this worth even fighting about today? What's more important here?
Right.
Just the awareness is really probably the difference. And it's not something you have to go out of your way and be like, I'm so sorry for the 8 years of our marriage and the 2 years before that where I just didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about making it up. It's about moving forward.
Right. And the other part is it's going to cause a shift in dynamics that he may not like.
So you may want to talk that out.
Yeah.
You just may want to talk that out and realize that's part of the how is this going to impact him?
Uh-huh.
You know, and if you start from that place and you start and you phrase it that way, like, look, I think I've been a really, selfish person.
Uh-huh.
And it took your, like crisis emergency situation for me to realize that I've been really bad at considering you.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to do better with that.
Right.
So that he at least has the awareness that y'all are on the same page now. You're not bucking him or fighting him or trying to do something because your behavior is going to change.
Right.
Like, and that can, especially in relationships, the behavior change sometimes without that being explained, like why the behavior changed, it sets off red flags all over the place of like, what are you up to? What are you doing? Are you getting ready to leave me? Are you cheating on me? What did I do wrong?
Right. But no, have conversations with him that are active conversations. What I mean by active is it's not you yapping and then him yapping. It's you hearing his words, paying attention to his body actions, calling him on his bullshit, him calling you on your bullshit.
And you may also just want to start with, do you even want this?
Right.
Because you may find that trying to care about him will blow up your marriage.
Yes.
And it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Like, some people just need the wounded bird to rescue. Like, that's how they understand how to be, especially for men. It's what they understand how to be. It's what they've seen modeled in every relationship that was a role model for them. And they don't know how to function with an equally contributing spouse.
Right.
That, like, y'all are working together. This is a 50-50 or a 40-60, whatever, like, you would get to. Like, they need you to be you. Because they know how to be this person who does 100% while you do 0.
Right.
They can do that. You start bringing it closer to 50-50, they're not sure how to take that or how to work within that. So it's a learning process for them if they want it to be.
Right.
Or it blows up your marriage.
Right.
Like, and it sounds insane. Like, so many people are like, I just wish my spouse would blah, 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 blah. Think it through, do it better, quit doing blah, 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 blah.
Bullshit.
But there are times that, like, that's just a complaint. And, like, it's venting the stress. But the reality is, no, you don't, like, this is how you know how to function.
Right.
They stop doing the things you're bitching about. What do I do?
Right.
How do I act? What is my role? What am I doing here? You don't need me.
Right.
You are a capable, independent person who has emotional regulation and thinks things through.
Right.
Like, so sometimes it's a be careful what you wish for.
Right.
You may already be in the best version of your relationship. You really need to talk this through.
Right.
So, alrighty.
Yeah. So, and this happens in relationships. Dynamics change in relationships, but you have to watch the change in dynamics and see if it's an active quality change.
Talk about preferences.
Very much so. All right. So let's see who's the asshole this week. Nope, you're not the asshole for telling a 14-year-old he can have his own damn preferences, and mother, just shut up.
Basically. All right. I'm on board with that one, and it's not a dill pickle.
Exactly.
There is no vinegar.
Nope. All right. So with that, we will be back Friday night at 9 p.m. for Mountain Bears. And of course, this Saturday is Psychic Saturday. Take it away, Joe.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Brenda, Joan Owen, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Caitlin Bell, Devin, and Maria Meyer. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com. Oh, and Brenda likes her dill pickles.
Yes, I like dill pickles too. It's fun. All right, guys. We will see you later. Bye, y'all.
Bye.